Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to another video about a happy woodworker. Today we're continuing on with our bread box build. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I uploaded a video. I ended up out on a construction project that needed most of my tools, so I haven't been able to film anything. We're going to pick up, we left off, we had cut our sides, we had cut our tambour tracks. Today we're going to cut the actual tambours for our bread box door. And if you guys remember, when we laid out to do dovetail tracks, we made lines for where our board was going to sit, and then we did a center line that we followed up. The reason I put these lines in for the outside of the board was to give myself a measurement, just in case your bread box has different dimensions than mine. If I take a measurement from where the inside line is on here, and I know I cut a 1/4 inch deep into my board for each of my tracks, I can take the measurement between this line and add a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch here, which is a 1/2 inch. So take measurement from here to here plus 1/2 inch, and then I've got the depth or the length of my tambours. So when we come back in this video, I'm going to take that measurement, we're going to set up on the table saw, and we're going to cut our tambours. We'll see you guys in a few minutes. Okay, picking up where we left off, I set out just a piece of leftover lumber that I had. I took my measurement from line to line on my base, and my measurement you guys will get all of this, but from line to inside line, my measurement was 19 7/16. Adding 1/2 inch to that, which would be 8/16, gives me 19 inches and 15/16. And then I wanted to make sure that these are going to slide freely inside of there, so I took a 1/16 off, which gave me a measurement of 19 7/8. So that's what we're cutting, is 19. We're cutting 19 7/8. So before we go to our table saw, we've got to make a mark. Make sure that I'm on the money here. Looks like I am. Put an X on the side of the line that you're going to cut on. And I'm not sure if you guys are going to, the camera's going to pick this up or not. Okay. Take this down. Maybe you'll get it. Maybe this will all be in the way. We'll find out, but you get the idea. Make sure you're set flat against your fence on both sides. Bring your saw down, check it against the line. And here we go. That will be the width of my tambour tracks. So next, we've got to cut these into individual strips on our table saw. We'll see you when we come back to do that. Hello everyone. We're just setting up on the table saw here, and you're probably not going to get a great view of this. It's nice and rainy outside today, so I don't have as much room as I would normally have to set the camera up. I normally run my table saw outside, and as you guys know, I don't have a whole lot of room inside to do this, so definitely not the best camera angle in the world, but we're going to continue on anyway. We're going to be feeding our tambour tracks. I suppose I probably could have set this up on the other side, but I'm already set up to cut on here, and all we're going to be doing is just feeding board through. I've set my fence and my blade at a 1/2 inch, because remember we cut a 1/2 inch tambour track. So my tambours are going to be 1/2 inch by 3/4 inch. 3/4 inch will be the exposed side, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So I'm going to put on some hearing protection, and we're going to feed these through. And it really is that simple. Just going to run them through one by one at a time until I've got all the tambour tracks that I need. And then we'll go from there. So I will come back when I've got the rest of these cut. Thanks for watching. Alrighty everyone, so we've got all of our pieces cut, and at this point I kind of decided now might be a good time for me just to test fit these and make sure they look okay. I just tapped in the front end of my bread box. Nothing is sized right or even or anything right now, but I thought I'd just put them in and see how they fit. I'm coming in at an awkward angle here, so for the most part I can get these in without a problem. If you need to, you can always come around to the back side, fit them in, and slide them up around. As you can see, as long as you keep them straight, they slide pretty well. And I've got enough play room and wiggle room in here. I've got a lot right now because the back end of this is kind of, once I pull these in, put the top on it, they'll be nice and tight. But so that went really well. Your next few steps is going to be sanding. You need to sand at a minimum the front face of these. You need to decide what's going to face out towards the front. You're getting a backside view here as I put these in just to test them. So you're going to want to, at a minimum, sand the face that's going to be facing out on the front. If you decide to do the middle, you can do those too. Mine were planed, nobody's really going to see them, so I'm not really all that worried about sanding the insides. I still might, just for good measure. Keep in mind too, as you're sanding, you're going to alter the dimension of these. Let's see if I can get some more out. My original plan called for 17 of these. I think 15 is probably going to do the job. So I have altered my plan just a little bit. Let's see, which way's loose, which way's tight, which way's up, which way's down. Like I said, it's all crooked right now. These will slide much better once you've got them all glued up to a piece of canvas or whatever you're using. I'm also going to router some edges on these, give them a real neat appearance. So all of these are the same. It's 3/4 inch thick stock, and I cut 1/2 inch strip, so it's 3/4 by 1/2 inch. And that 1/2 inch fits in that track pretty darn well. I was still a little concerned about the extreme slope right here, but they're sliding through it okay on the initial assemble. As long as you keep them straight, they slide through it anyway. So there we go. That's just a rough fit right there. Like I said, once I line them all up and get them all nice and pretty, especially once I have the top on to bring this in a nice square, they'll fit real good. So that went really, really well. And it's just a matter, that's all you've got to do, is just run your strips across your table saw. Once you get the measurement set correctly, that works pretty well. So next up, I'm going to be sanding these, and I'm going to lay them all out. And I'm going to choose what grain pattern that I want to appear in the front of this as well. So keep that in mind. You don't really have to do that before you sand. In fact, you might be better to do that after you sand them. But you do want to pick. Each one of these is going to be unique, so lay out the grain pattern that you want to see in your project. But once we're done, this will have a nice sliding door. I don't think I can slide it right now because I'm all out of square and funky, but well, sort of. You get the idea. So that did really well. I'll come back, maybe I'll do a quick video or a quick 30 seconds just of me laying these out and sanding them. And I recommend you lay them all out and sand them all at the same time. You'll get everything even that way. Alright everyone, so that's our test fit. In other notes, I've got some other things to do. My dovetail track is extremely tight. Because I did a test fit on that as well, so I think I'm going to have to go back and loosen my dovetail, make it just a hair smaller, because it is super tight. In fact, once I get these out of the way, you'll probably be able to see I've got some rubber mallet marks on my board where I had to hammer that out. Apparently my rubber mallet leaves a little bit of residue. I really had to pound them back out of there. So I'll probably adjust those, and like I was saying in the dovetail video, dovetails are one of those things I'd like to be able to tell you how to make an exact fit every time, but you kind of just have to do trial and error until you get to what you want. And they do fit. I had them all the way up in there, but they are exceptionally tight, so I think I want to loosen them just a little. And so when we come back, we'll sand these. And in our next video, we'll probably be working the top and the drawer. We've got to start planning for the drawer that we're going to put in here. So I hope everybody has enjoyed this quick little video. Like I said, this one was a simple one, just cutting your tracks on your table saw. And we'll see you in the next segment. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day. Hello everyone. So I've done my first round of sanding on this, and I thought I'd just give you a quick show of what I did. I laid these out, I put them in the order that I think I want them in, and then I just clamped them down with a couple of bar clamps. Some notes for you though: you want to make sure that these are perfectly flat and down all the way. That way you're sanding them evenly. My solution was to just snug these a little tiny bit. They don't need to be super tight. And just take a hammer and just tap these down and make sure they're all flat. That way you're sanding an even surface. I did that on both sides. And if you're using a bar clamp like this, these will vibrate loose on you. So you have to check them ever so often. I've seen a couple of different methods for doing this. Some people will put a sheet of MDF underneath, screw down a board on each side that's super tight, and then they'll clamp them in that way. I had a couple of bar clamps laying around. That seemed like that was working well enough for me. So that's what I went with. I don't really think you need to see the video of me sanding these. It's just taking a random orbital sander, and just going around. And I've been starting kind of towards the middle and working my way out. I don't want to change the dimensions. The edges are what I'll do last. So I will have to move my clamps around a little bit to get to my edges. But I didn't want to change the dimensions too much on that because they already fit real good. And these are going to be tucked in up to 1/4 of an inch on each side. So if I don't get the very, very edge real fantastic, nobody's going to see that. So food for thought for that. And next up, we're probably going to be doing the top. I originally had planned to do a sliding dovetail on that as well, but since most of my videos are for beginning woodworkers, I thought I would change the plan and show you how to conceal screws with dowels. So I'm going to do that way. And then once we have the top attached, and I obviously have to adjust the dovetail on the bottom that I've got as well because it's a little tight right now. But then we'll start figuring out what we're going to do with the drawer up in the top. And once we get that done, we'll be moving on to assembly and stain and finishing. So thanks for watching, and we'll get to all that when we come back. Happy woodworking, everyone.